So we saw Tesla stock open up and explode today, and there's no coincidence why this happened, as yesterday we just had the annual shareholder meeting for Tesla where we heard a lot of optimism, right? We heard Elon Musk talk about how he's going to pledge more of his time to Tesla, and when someone asked him about the rumors of Elon Musk stepping down from CEO, he responded saying it ain't so, right? So definitely a lot of good news from this annual shareholder meeting, but I want to highlight this one question that a fellow YouTuber by the name of Meet Kevin asked. So I want to go ahead and share this clip for you guys.
Hey Elon, Meet Kevin here.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thanks. So Tesla is the largest position in my ETF, ticker PP, and that's for pricing power.
Right.
And I'm curious, I really think that some of the features that you highlighted here, like the over-the-air airbag deployments of improving the features, the safety features, are great things that we could be advertising. I know you've heard this many times before. I know you have. But
sorry, go ahead, yeah.
$525 off every car this year is half of Netflix's advertising budget. $1,000 is the entire Netflix advertising budget, and I see their ads everywhere. Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this. I just talked to Gordo, the Tesla bear, and he's still talking about 2016 New York Times pieces. These people are in the past, man.
That's like 7 years ago at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's actually, I talk to a lot of people and they still think that like Teslas are like super expensive. And like, no, actually the starting price for a Tesla is below the average auto price in the US. It's like, and that's a good thing. I mean, I think it's good that it's that way, you know, like our goal was always to make cars that are affordable to the general public. So I hear you. I mean, I think, and it's indeed ironic that, you know, Twitter is like highly dependent on advertising. So, you know, here I am, it's like, you know, never used advertising really before, and now have a company that's highly dependent on advertising. So I guess I should say advertising is awesome and everyone should do it. But I think I hear your sort of larger point, which is that there are amazing features and functionality about Teslas that people just don't know about. So, yeah. And although there's obviously a lot of people that follow, like, say, the Tesla account and the, you know, my account, whatever, on Twitter, to some degree, it is preaching to the choir. And the choir is already convinced. So I think what you're saying does have some merit, and you know what? I believe in taking suggestions. So we'll try a little advertising and see how it goes. Okay. Okay. All right, I wasn't expecting that level of enthusiasm, but okay. It sounds like our shareholders, if I read between the lines, subtle as it is, are saying we should probably do some advertising. Okay, very well.
So there is a bunch of optimism coming from the fact that Elon Musk himself mentioned that Tesla may go ahead and try the route of advertising, something that they haven't done in the past. Now, I want to go ahead and say that in the past on this channel, I've said that Tesla doesn't need to spend money on advertising, and I want to go ahead and explain why I said that in the past, but also explain why I actually may have been wrong about that. Now, I thought about this, right? So in the past, I mentioned that, you know, Elon Musk himself has over 100 million followers on Twitter, right? That's a significant amount of reach that he has from social media, right? And then on top of that, Tesla itself, the brand, has over 20 million followers on Twitter, right? We don't see a lot of brands with that big of a following, right? And this is organically, right? So they don't have to spend money on ads. They can make a tweet and reach a ton of people. In comparison to legacy automakers like Ford that have about 1 million followers, right? And then other, you know, legacy automakers have even less, right? No one has as many followers, or no company has as many followers as Tesla. Tesla. And I said, okay, well, Tesla doesn't need to spend money on advertising. However, here's something that I want to go ahead and explain why I may have been wrong. As you heard from Elon Musk himself, he mentioned that, having this big following may just be preaching to the choir, right? Already convincing the people that are already convinced.
To some degree, it is preaching to the choir. And the choir is already convinced.
Now, other companies like Ferrari don't spend money on advertising as well. And so I thought, well, Tesla doesn't need to spend money on advertising. However, there's a big difference, right? Because Ferrari doesn't make as many cars as Tesla's trying to do. When you're trying to target into the masses, well, what you're gonna have to do is spend money on advertising. All the other legacy automakers that target the mass amount of people that are looking to buy a car, well, they spend money on advertising, right? And I thought about this, right? I was like, well, Tesla doesn't need to, right? People who are smart enough, they just know that Teslas are good, they're priced really well, they don't need to do that. However, you have to think about this, right? When you're talking about the masses, maybe a lot of people aren't really doing that much research into vehicles. Everyone's caught up in their own lives. And, it's hard to think about that, especially as someone who's, been into Tesla, and I love the mission that Tesla is doing. And if you're watching this video, maybe you as well think, or believe in Tesla as well. But what about the people who just don't care about anything, right? They're just living their regular life and they're doing great things in the world, but they're not really focused on what Tesla is doing. They're just trying to look for a reasonable car at a reasonable price. And they get hit with this ad from, GM or Ford. What are they going to do? They're going to go ahead and buy those vehicles, right? Or maybe buy their EV vehicles. And so with Tesla actually going into the route of advertising, well, that may actually change things and, really shift the direction for Tesla going into the larger perspective of targeting the masses. Now, on top of that, Elon Musk also announced that there's going to be 2 next-gen vehicles that are going to be priced really well, probably the $25,000, price tag that has been mentioned in the past, and that could possibly sell millions of units in the next few years, possibly being the best-selling cars, right? So this also adds some more hype into, the announcement from the shareholder meeting. But on top of that, I also want to highlight some other news that also impacted the overall market, such as the S&P 500. So in the Push and Profit private group yesterday in the Discord chat, I mentioned that I anticipate a quieter trading day tomorrow as market volatility is expected to lessen, right? I mentioned how trading volume might also decrease due to the absence of significant data. No scheduled talks from Federal Reserve officials, absence of major earnings announcements, and just things that aren't planned in advance. However, I mentioned that it's a possibility at all times that we could receive news on the debt ceiling, but that's not something to set any specific time to. Well, guess what? We did get news on the debt ceiling, and this is why when we look at the chart for SPY, we see something significant. We see that in the early session that I highlighted in the red circle, SPY was relatively flat. It went down, it went up, not really moving at all. However, in the yellow, I highlighted this massive move up. Well, that move up came after the announcement of the debt ceiling meetings offering, some progress, hints of progress, right? We heard that, the two sides are still, kind of opposing each other. However, it's possible that we may have a deal at the end of the week. Now guys, in previous videos and also in the Push and Profit private group, I mentioned that the US is most likely not going to default on its debt. I mentioned that politicians are not that dumb to keep arguing and let the United States just crumble. And in fact, this is just a tactic that they're doing to really negotiate on things for each side. However, I mentioned that the longer the negotiations go, well, the more panic that there is in the market. The market doesn't like uncertainty, right? And so having this news that, hey, there's hints that this may be over by the end of the week and we may have a deal, well, of course, that's a bunch of optimistic news for the market. And that's why we saw SPY also trend upwards. We saw the overall market go up. Now, quick plug, if you guys want to go ahead and join the Push and Profit private group, make sure to check out the first link in the description of this video, because that's the link where you are able to join the Push and Profit private group. That's where you get access to the Discord, where I also provide the daily briefings and talk about what's currently going on, along with trade ideas. So definitely take advantage of that link below. Now, bringing it back to Tesla stock, this overall optimism from the Tesla stock shareholder meeting, as well as the overall optimism in the overall markets because of the debt ceiling news, well, this could finally possibly bring Tesla back up to that $216 level where we see that area of resistance. And if we do break that area of resistance, well, that's extra good news because we know that above that area of resistance, there's very low volume by price, which is completely different from regular volume. See, when there's a low level of volume by price, like above the $216 level, well, that means that there's less of a battle between the bid and the ask, and that's where we could see prices move very quickly, and we could possibly see Tesla stock go up again. However, I don't think that we're going to be seeing all new time highs from Tesla just yet, as we still have economic headwinds still coming that Elon Musk himself addressed. He said that economic headwinds are still, in the future. And so I don't think that we're all in this, fine and dandy area yet. I think we still have a few more months to go until everything looks promising. However, in the short term, this definitely appears very bullish. But with that being said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you subscribed if you're not subscribed already. But also make sure to watch this next video right over here where I break down volume profile a little more deeper so you kind of understand exactly what I'm saying.